Well, new developments in the so-called loud music case in Florida. The prosecution rested its case in the trial against Michael Dunn, the man accused of shooting 17-year-old Jordan Davis to death inside an SUV. Dunn is accused of murdering the teen over loud music. The suspect has testified that it was all in self-defense. Dunn's lawyer told the jury today that deadly force is justifiable if he believed he was acting to protect himself.
And the laws in this state of Florida is if you reasonably believe that, you have to find Michael Dunn not guilty of every count in the indictment, every lesser included. You don't even start your discussion if they met their burden of beyond a reasonable doubt.
But the prosecution argues that there was no reason for Dunn to think that his life was in danger.
When this defendant shot and killed Jordan Davis, there was no gun in that Durango. There was no stick, there was no bat, there was no lead pipe, there was no gun.
For more on this controversial murder trial, RT's Nicholas O'Donovan joins us from Miami with more. Hi there, Nicholas. So tell us,
hi Liz, how you doing?
Tell us what happened today in that courtroom.
Well, it was day 9, day of closing arguments in the Michael Dunn trial. We heard prosecutors say that for Dunn, the shooting was just simply a target practice. Prosecutor Erin Wolfson was in charge of delivering the state's closing argument, and she said that when Michael Dunn pulled up to the SUV where Jordan Davis and his friends were, as you said, listening to music, his blood literally started to boil. Obviously, the state is trying to depict a picture of Michael Dunn where he was some way triggered by some sort of irrational hate towards a certain kind of person, or that there was some sort of premeditation in his actions. On the other hand, Dunn's lawyers depicted the 47-year-old as a loving, caring father that was literally scared to death and that acted in self-defense. Therefore, very different stories that we heard today in Jacksonville.
Let's talk about the evidence that we've heard throughout this case as it comes to a close, Nicholas, because as we had mentioned, Dunn maintains that he opened fire because he felt that his life was threatened. Does the evidence back that up?
Well, actually, that is the essential question here. And in self-defense cases, the line is extremely thin. How can we know if he really saw something that looked like a gun and feared for his life? We will never know that, although we have to say that the medical evidence presented in court suggests that Jordan Davis died in the car and in a defensive position. The truth is that when Dunn himself testified, he told the court that he thought that he saw a gun in the vehicle where Jordan and his friends were. Obviously, we now know that police never found a gun in or near the vehicle, although it is true that that vehicle left or fled the scene right after the shooting. And basically, Dunn's version is that, you know, he asked the teens to turn down their rap music and that it all escalated from there. Literally, Michael Dunn said that during this exchange with Jordan, it was always Jordan Davis who kept escalating the situation to the point where he had no choice, and this is very important, no choice but to defend himself, and that it was basically a life or death situation.
If convicted, what sentence is Dunn facing?
Well, if the racially diverse jury formed by 10 women and 6 men finally find Michael Dunn guilty of first-degree murder, well, he obviously faces up to life in prison. Dunn also faces 3 counts of attempted first-degree murder related to the other 3 teenagers that were with Jordan Davis but that survived the shooting. One of them was severely injured. So, as I say, he's facing life in prison.
Right, and this is the same state where the very controversial Trayvon Martin trial took place, and we saw a strong reaction from the community there really come together in protest. Nicholas, what reaction are you seeing on the ground there to the death of Jordan Davis?
Well, they're very two similar cases. We are starting to see protests outside the courthouse in Jacksonville. I remember all the covering the reactions after that Trayvon Martin verdict, and I can tell you there was an outrage when George Zimmerman was acquitted. The truth is that it's inevitable to link both cases, both in Florida, both involving 7-year-old African-American kids, apparently unarmed, being shot by middle-aged men. The feeling is, well, that there is a problem down here in Florida. The question now is it a social problem? Is it a racial one? Is it a legal problem? Stand Your Ground law has been linked to almost 26 deaths of minors since it passed down here in the state of Florida. Many oppose the law. We also heard Attorney General Eric Holder say after the Trayvon Martin case that the Stand Your Ground law is basically a dangerous expansion of the concept of self-defense. Others, like singer Stevie Wonder, said that he will not perform in the state of Florida until the Stand Your Ground law comes to an end.
Yeah, certainly it's hard not to draw those parallels between these two cases. Nicholas, appreciate you staying on top of this. That was RT's Nicholas O'Donovan.